On this episode of Lapeef Let's Talk,
Men should act all the time. Is that fair?
You're muted, Kayla.
You're muted, Kayla.
I don't know if it's fair or not, but when I speak on what I think men, I'm speaking on like what I want in a man. So I don't, you know what I mean? Like the thought process of a man that I would want is what I try to speak to, but not blanket for like trying to speak for men. Cause I've said several, we can't speak for men, but
it's a push to get rid of masculinity. So we try to feminize men to get rid of that. And then we try to take men and appropriate them into women. So therefore, if men are turning into women and we're disrespecting masculinity and calling it toxic, then where are the men at? And then we talk about us being in a matriarch society. Well, we're eliminating men in our society.
But like I said, y'all was cool when these dudes out here, you know what I'm saying? Y'all letting them, loaning them y'all shoes and shit. Don't cry now.
Ricky.
I don't think people are crying. I think that it's just more, it's becoming more normal than it's ever been.
Why is it becoming normal?
Yeah, what do you explain that?
It's becoming normal because, I mean, they're talking about it a little more. I mean, there were so many people in the closet that now people are just kind of out. You know, they're more out now than they've ever been.
It's still not normal.
But
it's becoming a sense of normalcy. It is like they are teaching. They're teaching our children, like, hey, you know, everybody be one. You know, be good. You know, do what you need to do. Like, be free. I mean, I'm all about
being free. But Siobhan, do you think that's because more women are accepting it?
Yes.
Do you think that's why?
Yes.
But that's why. Yeah. That's why. Because every time you see Saucy Santana, he's surrounded by a bunch of chicks that's egging it on.
They be like, yes, get it, girl.
Shake that booty.
And it's not even a girl.
It's not. And it's sad because I saw a comment on Facebook that said, after a woman has a hysterectomy, she's still a woman. And this came from one of the alphabet people. So if we have a hysterectomy, we're not even a woman. But do you know there's like multiple types of hysterectomies? There's partial, there's total, radical, there's different types. But that's how sad it is that you have people that's just because you identify as a woman, now you're telling me what I'm supposed to do to be considered a woman. It's absolutely freaking ridiculous. I was born a female, a woman. No person that identifies as anything is going to tell me how I should be a woman. And you have to overcompensate for your beauty because you're trying to portray yourself as a woman. I don't have to do that. When I walk out the door, I don't have to have lashes and makeup and hair and long nails to look as a woman. I'm already that. You're striving to be what I am.
Oh, all right.
So don't try to make it seem like I have to be a certain way to come across like you compete with me. And let me tell you, I'm not the female to have the other, you know, the letter friends. I don't, because women already have to deal with jealousy amongst women. So how do you think that gay dude feel hanging around you at the end of the day? He wants to be you.
Yeah. I think what Erica Lachey was talking about with the appropriation of womanhood, we always talking about in our community when people try to appropriate us. We get upset when white women want to do our braids. We get upset with the Rachel Dolezals. We're upset because they appropriate our culture and think they're cool with it. And then we're supposed to accept them in our culture. But then we don't say anything when men try to appropriate who we are as women. I find it very disrespectful when someone says you're a cis woman. No, I'm a woman. Now, the adjectives you can say a pretty woman, a bad woman, a smart woman, but you're not going to say a cis woman because I am that. Just because you feel a certain type of way doesn't mean you are it. So, like again, what we talked about last week, this new norm is not normal. Our culture is messed up. It is ass backwards. There is no clothes, wig, shoes, surgery, breasts, butt that will ever make you a woman.
Nope.
And it's normal because people allow it to be.
No, it ain't people, Ricky. It's the women.
So, in regards to this issue, I want to quote someone really quick. I'm going to quote, I don't know if you guys know who she is. Flame Monroe spoke about this. And I just want to quote something she said. She said, gender is a fact. Identity is how you feel and sexuality is your desire. So even a trans woman understands that she's not a woman and understand that she's trans. I think that the disconnect is like people like, and I know, you know, because I don't have any trans friends. I have gay friends, but whatever. I think that there's a study that was done that even my colleague showed me some weeks ago, where it basically the study like proves that there's like a mental health issue with someone that believes that something should be other than it clearly is. And they did a study like on a child or on children in terms of like, I don't remember what it's called in terms of misidentity. And like, it's a mental thing for you to like, look at the sky and it's blue and be like, but it should be purple, like, you know, whatever. But I do think that, anybody that is not a woman, you can't speak on womanhood. Like you can't. It's just not possible because we understand that it doesn't matter. Even if you do get a vagina and boobs, that you're like you'll never be and you'll never have that. You'll never be a woman. You'll never have that actual DNA that gives you what women have naturally. You always have to try to assimilate. You will always be in a costume.
Yeah.
You know, what's funny is the more and more that we have this conversation, the more and more we have in this conversation, and I know, I kind of hesitate to even say this.
You think before you talk, Quest.
I was gonna say the longer we're having this conversation, the more and more I sit back and I'm like, man, y'all tell us how to act all the time. Women suggest how men should act all the time. Is that fair?
You're muted, Kayla.
You're muted, Kayla.
I don't know if it's fair or not, but when I speak on what I think men, I'm speaking on like what I want in a man. So I don't, you know what I mean? Like the thought process of a man that I would want is what I try to speak to, but not blanket for like trying to speak for men. Cause I've said several, we can't speak for men, but
it's a push to get rid of masculinity. So we try to feminize men to get rid of that. And then we try to take men and appropriate them into women. So therefore, if men are turning into women and we're disrespecting masculinity and calling it toxic, then where are the men at? And then we talk about us being in a matriarch society. Well, we're eliminating men in our society.